I shared in a previous episode that I've been working on a field guide called Holidays on Her Terms, which is just my way of organizing all of my thoughts around pretty much anything and everything to do with creating a holiday season that I appreciate and love before it's happening, while it's happening, and afterwards when I'm reviewing it in the camera roll. And getting as close to that as is humanly possible, not expecting perfection and all of that. But anyway, as I was creating this resource, I was thinking, what's the tagline for it? Like if I had just 4 words to describe it to my clients, how would I describe it? And the first one that came to mind was more prep, less panic, which is fine. But also, I don't want to introduce the thought and the feeling and the vibe of panic if she wasn't even experiencing it. Maybe she wasn't, and I'm projecting, so I'm not trying to do that. So once I named that and owned it, even though I was scared I wasn't going to find another monkey bar to swing to, more prep, more presence came to mind. Because that's really what this is all about. So much of what we're talking about in this final 2025 Thought Closet collection of episodes that we're creating here as I'm digesting the lessons that have stood out to me most this year, so much of it comes back to this theme, which is where once upon a time I was very resistant to the idea of prep. You know, we kind of overcorrect. So if I felt like I was overly scheduled, then I want to overcorrect the other way and not have anything on my schedule. And if I felt like I was so planned and had everything, marked to I have to be here at this time and I need to do this by this date and this by this date, then of course it's natural to then want to like countercorrect to the other side and be like, no, I don't want to plan. I just want to experience it. I just want to be in the moment. Okay, but here's my take on it now at age 40 in December of 2025. That is not actually how it works in most cases. So it's a bit delusional for me to be thinking that I don't need to plan anything and I can just show up, because it's just really not how it works. I was listening to a video from a famous actress who recently did a movie, I guess, where she was doing dancing, and she's like, I am not comfortable dancing. This is not in my usual wheelhouse. So it took months and months of prep for me to practice it so that it was just in my body and in my muscles and I could just show up and do it. And I was like, exactly. That's the point of more prep, more presence. Because when we practice, when we prep, when we do all the pre-thinking that we can do and think the thoughts and see the contingencies to the degree that we can without being completely, obsessive about it, then we give ourselves more of a chance to show up and be more present in whatever that moment is. Another example that I think of is back in college and in grad school, I was studying with some of the top scholars in communication at TCU in Fort Worth, Texas. Go Frogs. And a couple of the professors, their specialty was in public speaking anxiety. And so they had published and done so much research and la-di-da. And they always said that the best prescription for public speaking anxiety was preparation and to practice out loud in front of people, basically setting up as close as you can to the exact scenario so that you can practice what you're going to say, so that you can be comfortable delivering it. And that is what I have found to be true in any instance, because I used to have a job where I would speak in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people every day at Pearl Harbor, helping to connect people with the history at the USS Arizona Memorial, etc. And I had a speech that I would give in the shrine room. If you've ever seen a photo or if you've ever had the chance to visit the Arizona Memorial, then you've seen the wall that has like 1177, I said but I mean exactly 1177 names of the men that were killed on the USS Arizona on December 7th, 1941. And I had a spiel and a little speech that I would give because every 15 minutes we had another 150 people arriving by boat, circling on, circling off, circling on, circling off. And so I needed to be very efficient with my words to help them connect and understand the significance of the place and the meanings of these names and the personal stories that they might connect to. And because I had it on autopilot where I could say it in my sleep, and I'm so sad I didn't write it down and document it so that I could have it for my kids one day, because I don't remember it anymore, what I used to say, but I do remember. I would say the same thing over and over, multiple times a day. I worked there for years, and I could be so present with the people, making eye contact, seeing who was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize there were so many sets of brothers. Whoa, there was a father and son. Like the actual feedback was so much more meaningful because I wasn't trying to just wing it and make something up to connect in that moment. The preparation led to the presence. So I've shared that with a number of clients, and they've shared it with their clients, and it's something that's sticking. So I wanted to be able to share that with you in case it's something you want to, hang on I wrote it on our dry erase board in here too, but more prep, more presence, just as a bit of a guide. Because again, it's not just, for me, I used to resist it because I would think, well, if I want to be creative, then I just need to be completely spontaneous and in the moment. But think about, like I said, I gave you an example of an actor who knows that the prep is actually really important. Dancers, photographers, but even think firefighters, doctors, like we value preparation in many areas of life. Why do we think that preparation is icky in our personal lives? Why do we think that it means that everything's got to be sterile and rigid, when the reality in our cells, in our bodies, we know that the things that we prep for ahead of time and we just pre-think it a little bit allows us to actually show up less panicked, less distracted, because we don't have all these open tabs like, oh, I just barely made it here. Oh my gosh, I forgot I was supposed to bring a gift, or I said I was going to bring this dish, or whatever. It's like, these are the thoughts. Even just me recording these podcasts, I had a spontaneous recording on a pedestal for the longest time, which is fine, and I love that. I love that I can just bottle inspiration as it comes, and I'm totally okay with doing that. But I just feel like there's also something really beautiful in the fact that as I'm recording these thoughts and the through lines and the messages that I'm sharing with you here at the end of 2025, they've been sitting with me for months and months. It's like so obvious when I was deciding this is going to be the lineup. I'm going to finish out our first 100 episodes in 2025 before we try something different in 2026. And I love that I can be present in how I'm delivering these with you, because I have like really let these sink in a way. It's not like I'm scripting them, but I have my points that I've been thinking that have been coming back to mind over and over and over. And then I just get to be really present and hopeful that whenever you're listening to this through time and space, it's resonating with you because it's a message that you're meant to pick up. So that's it. More prep, more presence. It doesn't have to mean a sterile, icky, rigid, I'm going to show up and be a robot. It's just like in a public speaking situation, if you know, you know, or dancing or whatever, like pick whatever your thing is. If you've done the thinking ahead of time, it's a gift to yourself and a gift to the person that you're with or the people that you're with, because you're just shushing that noise, the distraction. It's like we've talked about in the half tank baseline. It's like you're just giving yourself space to actually be where your feet are, as they say. And it's just a whole new way of looking at prep. It's not something I was consciously connecting until this year. I hope that it sparks something useful in you and allows you to feel more present in this moment, in this day, in this year, whenever and wherever you are. All right, thanks for listening. Catch you next time.